Hi, it's Alaska Granny. If you look at the news at all, perhaps you're concerned with SHTF. I know I'm concerned when I turn on the news and I see powerful winter storms, power outages, people losing their electricity, unrest in the cities, people protesting, and there's certainly backbiting in our government and just in all types of communities, all types of people. There doesn't seem to be a common ground and respect for each other anymore. People have just really gone crazy. So one of the things that it makes me concerned about, what if something breaks out? What if we have an SHTF situation? Looking at the problems that could happen, it could interfere with our ability to go to the store, get the things we need, and the same thing would be happening with our friends and neighbors. So I started thinking about what are some everyday items that might be a good form of currency in an SHTF situation. If you look back through history, what have people really wanted in times of hardship and need? When they couldn't pay for things, there wasn't any money, or the stores weren't open, or we were under a lockdown. People have gone through wars, depressions, and extreme hardships. So let's think about what are some of the items that I think might be a good idea to stockpile so you have some currency items if you can't get the things you need or you want to be able to barter or trade. Let's think about people's vices. That's where I think the zombies are going to come from. So I have some small bottles of alcohol. If you have small bottles of alcohol, it's something that you could barter with or trade with or give to someone so that if they come to you and they need something and they're desperate for a fix for their vice, you could at least send them on their way with something small. I know when I've traveled, there have been times when I didn't have the proper amount of soap. So I have extra bars of soap. And if you've ever been out camping or traveling or something and you don't have shampoo, maybe get some little ones, or if you ever go on a trip, stock up on some extra shampoo, whether they're tiny sizes or big bottles, because cleanliness certainly can make you feel better and can take the SHTF out of the day if you can get clean. What if you have babies or small children? Do you have the things they need? Baby shampoo, baby wash, baby wipes, baby diapers, baby food. Think about the things that a baby would need and make sure that you have any that you need for your own family, and perhaps a few things that you could have on hand that you could use as currency or bartering in an SHTF situation. Toothpaste is another great item to have on hand. Anything that's going to keep you healthy, and the items that you use on a daily basis, they're the kind of items that you want to think about, from your shampoo to your soap to your toothpaste. What are the items that you use, and make sure you have plenty of those, because not only will they be valuable to you, but they could be currency if you needed to try to trade or barter for something else that you didn't think of and now you need. What about clean clothes? Do you have some extra laundry detergent? Sometimes you can even pick up small bottles of it at places like the Dollar Tree. I prefer the liquid over powder, and so that's just what I have on hand, because at the end of the day, I want to have stockpiles of things that I would actually use, and so I stay away from powder detergent simply because I find they don't dissolve as well, and so I prefer the liquid. Clean dishes are also invaluable. So while it might be nice to stock up on pods for a dishwasher, you also want to have just some dishwashing liquid so that if you only have a little bit of water, you can still wash dishes in the sink. Or what if your dishwasher stops working? You still need to be able to clean dishes. We always need to have a way to keep our things clean and sanitized, because that's one way that we keep ourselves healthy. Here's another vice, coffee. And people are always complaining that the price of coffee is going up. I don't necessarily drink very much coffee, but I do have some on hand, and when I buy coffee like this, I just stick it in the freezer because it can last very much longer that way. The longest lasting coffee is freeze-dried instant coffee, so if you want to have some for the longest haul, that might be something you want to consider having in your stockpile. Look back even to the pioneer days. Sugar. They wanted sugar so that they could sweeten up the foods that they had. Sugar was a luxury item that people were willing to do a lot for, and so having some extra sugar might be something you want. I have bought some sugar from the LDS or the Mormon Church, and it comes already sealed in a number 10 can. It's sealed to last for up to 30 years. So you don't have to worry about bringing bags home and figuring out how to store them so that they stay safe and fresh and good to eat. Sometimes it makes sense to just buy some of the longest lasting foods already prepared to last. Anyone can order the food from the LDS or the Mormon Church. They sell the food in number 10 cans in boxes of 6 of the same type of food, and they have all different varieties of the longest lasting food. I'll put a link in the description below in case you want to check it out. If you want to order some of the longest lasting food, it's very affordable. It comes with very inexpensive shipping. Then you have a supply of the longest lasting food that you can count on lasting for the longest haul. Salt is something that people have wanted since the beginning of time. It's always been valuable and it is versatile. People have used it to preserve their foods, not just flavoring. And salt is also essential to the health of our bodies. One of the reasons we don't think about it so much these days is because there's so much processed food in the world, and a lot of times people are concerned with having too much sodium. But if you needed to go back to just preparing all of your own foods, the ones that you could grow, the ones that you could make from scratch, then you definitely need to have some salt on hand. Plus, it's one of those things that people are addicted to. Just look at how they go after the chip aisle. So having some salt might be great to have on hand for some currency or even bartering in an SHTF situation. Think about some of the medical items that could be critical for people's survival. Think of things like over-the-counter remedies, Band-Aids, ointments, all the different kinds of first aid supplies. Look through what you have. See if you've rated some, and are there gaps that you want to be able to pick up some more things and beef up your supply of first aid supplies. You can pick them up at the Dollar Tree. You can pick them up at the pharmacy. There are lots of stores that have over-the-counter medication and first aid supplies available. So even just pick up one item when you go to the store, and pretty soon you'll have a wide variety so that you'll have the things you need should even your family need it. Think about what would you do if someone in your family needed medicine. What is the currency that you would be willing to sacrifice to get an item for your family? My old eyes need glasses, so I pick up the glasses at Dollar Tree when I have a chance. They're $1.50, but they certainly are handy when you need to read the fine print, especially if you're reading something like on your medication. You need to be able to read all those little fine prints. So pick them up and put them even with your first aid supplies so that you don't have any kind of a problem reading and realizing what are the proper dosages and the ways to use the products that you have. Remember the pandemic when you had to have a mask? I still have some in my stockpile, and I keep them so that what if it happens again, or what if I get sick? There's a lot of reasons we realize now that we might want to have masks on hand. And the thing that was the most difficult to find for many people was toilet paper. I still have this one gift wrap that when the pandemic was going on, everyone in my family got the gift of toilet paper because it was priceless for Christmas. So I still have one that's gift wrapped as a reminder not to take life so seriously and to make sure that you have the things that you need. Rope is something that I have been able to hand out to people in need recently. Luckily, I have found these kind of ropes at Dollar Tree for like $1.25. It's a very sturdy rope. It's about 40 feet long, I think. It's a diamond braided rope, and yes, it's 40 feet long. These are fantastic. You can use rope for a lot of things, and because it's inexpensive, if I see somebody needing to tie up something on their truck, for example, I don't mind giving them a piece of this rope. Something like the paracord is much more expensive, and so I don't really want to just give that away. But I don't have a problem giving out a piece of rope like this because it's inexpensive, it's so helpful, and so far everyone that I have given one to has been very appreciative. So when I have an opportunity to go to the Dollar Tree again, I'm going to stock up on some more of these braided ropes. Not critical, but I realized that I lost my basting brush, so when I was at Dollar Tree recently, I bought another silicone basting brush for putting sauces and mixes and things over meats and vegetables and things. So if there's something that you need in your regular everyday kitchen utensils, get rid of the ones you don't use and make sure you have enough of the items that you do use. But declutter if you have a bunch of utensils in there that you never use, because you want to make sure that you have the things you need properly organized so that you can find them and use them, and then have room for other things that you might rather have than some of just more kitchen utensils. Maybe there's other items that you want and you need some extra space. Something I think would be great currency during an SHTF situation is a can of food. Particularly, I have cans of soup, because if you have rice, you have mashed potatoes, you have pasta noodles, you can serve a can of soup over a bowl of rice and make a bigger, better meal that can serve several people. The rice, the mashed potatoes, the noodles can really fill up the stomach, and then the soup over the top can make it a tasty meal. So make it a priority to have extra food on hand as well. You want to have plenty of food for yourself, but remember to buy foods that you're willing to use, rotate, and replace. And pay attention to the dates on them. Just because the date has gone by doesn't mean the food isn't any good anymore, but it can mean that. So you want to pay attention to the dates and rotate those foods. If you're ever concerned, is this food still good to eat? Check it out before you throw it out. Look over the can. Does anything look dented, bulging, leaky? When you open it, does anything spurt? Does it smell okay? Does it look okay? Probably it will be okay. And generally, when I've opened a can that wasn't any good, it just looked really off, or it didn't smell good, or the can was bulging, and then you know, throw it out. When in doubt, throw it out. Don't take a chance for a few dollars worth of food to make yourself sick. But a lot of times that food is still going to be good and safe to eat. So check it out before you throw it out. That's what I always say. We may not be thinking of it now because there's still snow on the ground where I live, but garden seeds would also be a great currency item in an SHTF situation. So as spring comes around, if you see gardening seeds in your store, especially if they're inexpensive, pick up some for yourself and maybe pick up a few extras to have in case you need some extra currency in an emergency situation. Real currency equals knowledge. The more things you know how to do, how to fix, how to prepare, how to share, how to make it go farther, make it do for something it wasn't even intended to, but find new uses for your items to meet the needs that you have. So always be curious, be learning, be trying new things. Read about things. Even if you don't think it's something you'd ever want to fix, you never know. Just putting that in your brain, and it's rattling around in there with all the other ideas, and then when you meet a challenge, you might be able to just come up with a solution all by yourself, just with the things that you have on hand. Be curious about how things work and how to make do, and you might find that you have saved the day for yourself, no matter what the day brings. An SHTF event doesn't have to be a catastrophe. It can be something that we can get through. Leave it in the comments below. What other items do you think would be good currency in an SHTF situation? We can learn a lot from each other when we share ideas. I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.